the CEO of TNB and President of ASEAN 2017-18, Dr. Sri Asman Muhammad, the President of TNB, Tan Sri Leo Mogi, and distinguished ASEAN Council members and the leaders of utilities, companies, and organizations, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning and salam sejahtera to everyone. I'm very glad today to be able to come and see the opening of the 22nd Conference for Electric Power Supply Industry, CEPSI 2018. Let me first thank the Naga National Berhad as a host for CEPSI 2018 for the privilege of being able to deliver the opening address for this such a good conference here. I'd like to take this opportunity also to welcome all delegates here who have taken time off to be with us today. I know this morning the weather, it's raining and the traffic is a bit bad for everyone, but welcome and thank you for coming. And for those who come from overseas, on behalf of the Government of Malaysia, Selamat datang ke Malaysia. 来自中国的代表以及刘振业先生，欢迎来到马来西亚。Welcome to Malaysia. I understand that the majority of the delegates here are the leaders from organizations and utilities companies within the community of ASEAN, which is the most eminent electric power-related association in East Asia and Western Pacific. I also understand that since its inception in 1975, which is earlier than the year I was born, ASEAN has been engaging in exchange of technology and expertise, as well as fostering cooperation among members to develop the power industry in the region. As many of you know, I am the new kid on the block, and I have just been appointed as the Minister of Energy, Science, Technology, Environment, and Climate Change in July. And as such, it is really an honor for me to be here and to look at the latest development in electricity supply industry and in the region, and how it is currently disrupted and also reimagined. Oh, actually, by the way, if you can't remember the name, just now I was seeing all the honorable guests giving their speeches, and they have struggled to actually remember the name of my ministry, and also the host as well, the MC here. So you do not need to use the long name, just use MESTECC, Ministry of Energy, Science, Technology, Environment, and Climate Change. The Prime Minister, Tun Mahathir, who will be coming later, once called MESTECC, which is the ministry, the name of the acronym of my ministry, the Ministry of Many Functions. But make no mistake, although energy, and hence electricity, which is a subset of energy, is in the Ministry of Many Functions, the government will not neglect electricity industry, because electricity is the backbone of economic development. This is especially true at this juncture of our history, where we are on the verge of the next phase of electrification of the nations. As many of us know, that news headlines that we see recently, many climate change events are very real. Extreme weather, things are just different than what we used to see. And that is why the world needs to move towards a low-carbon future. More than 190 countries signed Paris Agreement to fight against climate change, to keep our global temperature below 2 Celsius increase relative to the pre-industrial level. As for us in Malaysia, we signed and we committed to 45% reduction relative to 2005 level of our carbon emission intensity, by 45% reduction. 35% is unconditional, 10% is upon the receipt of climate finance, technology transfer, and also capacity building from the developed country. I'm sure most, if not all, of the countries of ASEAN too signed and committed to the commitment we have made in Paris Agreement. Our countries and the world need to decarbonize. But we cannot decarbonize by sacrificing economic growth. The answer to this, I dare say, is electrification in sectors that we have never imagined before that can be electrified in a big-scale manner. Continued global economic growth and decarbonization cannot be done without electrification. For example, if electric vehicles were to take off, we will be looking at unprecedented electrification of our countries. As of now, in Malaysia, 42% of our energy use is for transport sector, most of which are now from petroleum-based products. Imagine the growth of electricity industry when transport is electrified. It is going to be unprecedented. My question to all of us here, Malaysian delegates and from all around the world, are we ready for an unprecedented growth of electrification? Are we ready to provide the people of our country an affordable and reliable electricity without sacrificing our economic growth? We are really undergoing a history whereby there is a converging of transport and electricity industry. So it is really, to all of you here, that is the big challenge. But there is also another challenge. First, on how do we decarbonize? But the second challenge for us is really on the cost of production, on the cost of electricity. I want to share with you a story. When I first became the Minister of Energy, a lot of people, especially the environmentalists, will come to me and say, YB, YB. YB is Yang Berhormat in Malay, which is honorable. YB, we have got to save the world. Let's increase the electricity tariff so that people can use less electricity, and hence we can save the world. That is what environmentalists will tell me. Let's increase it so that it will reduce the usage of electricity. I would like to say this, is that as a Minister of Energy, as much as I would like to save the environment, it is also important for me to sustain the well-being of people. As we make our decisions in the aircon room right here, and as we make decisions in our big companies, utilities companies, organizations, in an air-conditioned room, in a room where it is comfortable, I would like to challenge all leaders here to also remember people at the bottom of the pyramid. People who, in Malaysian context, the makcik and the pakcik, who stay in the wooden house in the kampong. The small business owners whose cost of business are so sensitive to cost of electricity, where it will mean life and death for his business. The manufacturers who would always be worried of how much is the cost passed through this regulatory period to the next. These are the people we need to keep in mind, because eventually, when we talk about electricity industry, they put a service in it, electricity service industry. And these are the people we serve. And hence, tariff and affordability is also a challenge for us. We are a developing country, Malaysia and many of our ISEP countries, and one of the things that we need to do is this, is not to say that we cannot give an affordable electricity to our people, but is to ask ourselves, how do we make the market more efficient? How do we use technologies, smart grid, or anything you can think of, our operation technologically to be more efficient so we can deliver affordable electricity to the people, even to the people who are at the bottommost of the economic pyramid. We really need to think about how do we make electricity industry to unlock the potential of economic growth in Malaysia and also in the respective countries. So, two things, decarbonization, sustainability, and second thing, affordability. We are really not talking about business as usual for electrification when we talk about big-scale, unprecedented electrification. We are really talking about electrification that is efficient in operation as well as in market structure, and a rapid transition to green electrification. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you think that electricity service industry is just like any other industry, think again. All of you here, leaders in the industry, have greater purpose to mankind than just making the balance sheets of your companies you work for. You have greater purpose than just balance sheets, your financial reports, and your shareholders. Your greater purpose is how do we transform life through a more efficient electricity industry. That is the reason, actually, I'm very glad with the theme of CEPSI 2018, Reimagining Utility of the Future. Reimagining is something that is very close to my heart because my first book that I've just launched is called Reimagining Malaysia. Why reimagining is important is because I think reimagining will help us to look beyond our current limitations. Actually, coincidentally, I did not know I would be the energy minister when I wrote the book. But coincidentally, in the introduction of the book, I actually gave an example of Nikola Tesla. All of you here knows Nikola Tesla. You are in the electricity industry. You would know that this is an inventor that challenged the conventional wisdom of DC transmission. That time, he was fighting with Edison. And everyone thinks that it is a crazy idea of using AC to transmit electricity. But he has proven his concept, and he has proven to the world that it is much safer and easier and efficient to transmit electricity with AC. So, because of that, I would like to tell and challenge all of our delegates here. If you ask me, how do we decarbonize the world, but at the same time ensuring affordability, I would like to ask you back because you are the experts of the industry. You are supposed to come up with the solution for the government and for your country, for your own people. And so we need to be able to reimagine. To quote Albert Einstein, he said, "The true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination." So I would like to encourage all of us to be able to reimagine, to imagine a future where electricity is affordable, to imagine a future where the small businesses do not always need to suffer whenever there is an electricity hike, to imagine a future where we have an industry that will still leave the world a better place for our next generation. Just now we were talking about decentralization, decarbonization, digitalization, all the D and Shen. But I thought that the eventual goal of all the D and Shen is this, is that we want what the TNB tagline says, a better life, better, brighter. Better life for everyone, for a brighter future. So, in order for us to really go into this challenge, to really overcome the challenge and really thrive at these challenges, Malaysia, my ministry, MESTECC, will be embarking on a new reform program for Malaysian electricity supply industry, or we call it MESTECC Reform 2.0. We have 3 objectives that we want to do this reform. The first is that we want to increase industry efficiency. We'll do this through, for example, greater utilization of market-based competition across the value chain, reduce government intervention, so congratulations and to all the industrial players. We will see less of my hand in your work, and increase transparency, adopt a more cost-reflective and time-based tariffs, but targeted subsidies for those in need, and increase cross-border trade. Second, which is very important, we want to future-proof the industry, structure, regulations, and key processes. The objective is to ensure the introduction of market-based competition, the adoption of new technologies, the promotion of renewable energy, and energy efficiency initiatives will ultimately add value to the consumers and improve the nation's energy security. Finally, we want to empower consumers. We will do this by ensuring there is choice, by incentivizing changes in consumption patterns, and facilitate active participation by consumers in the power sector as the producer of power. In short, after MESTECC Reform 2.0, we hope to see green, efficient, transparent, market-based, and sustainable electricity industry. To kickstart this one, to kickstart the reform, the ministry will will reactivate My Power, Malaysia Program Office for Power Electricity Reform, an independent company limited by guarantee, to kickstart this reform. This will be not like another agency, it will be just 36 months. The life of this agency is 36 months to go through MESTECC Reform 2.0 to design and drive implementation of reform in Malaysia. And I'm sure many of you here in your respective countries, you will have the reform programs. I wish you all the best, and I hope that this conference will be good input for all of you to share your idea, to network around, that you will be able to get an idea of how to reform your electricity industry. And through the reform of electricity industry, through technology, through our expertise, that we will be able to change lives. For the Malaysian experts here, I would like to, on behalf of Malaysian government, we want to say this. As MESTECC will be here to empower our experts to change the industry. We are not here to intervene you, we are here to empower you. And hopefully with your expertise, we will be able to change lives.